What do you think was the behavior that came behind believing this is our utmost calling?
This is where in developing the chapters, that really helps, untangle some of the mess this has created, right?
Mhm.
Because when we believe the narrative that motherhood is our absolute highest calling, then you just said it a minute ago, Courtney. You said I put everything into that. Well, I said, when you put all your eggs
Yeah.
in that basket, that this is my purpose, my highest purpose. This is my identity. This is the most important thing I'll ever do in my life.
Mhm.
Then when that last child leaves the nest, you are in a world of hurt because you have to go through, you said that phrase, an identity shift or crisis. It is an identity crisis, even
Yeah.
if you have a bunch of side hustles going on, which
Yep.
I did as well. Traveling, speaking, book
Yeah.
deadlines. I mean, our last child left the nest and I became a grandmother 3 months later. So
Wow.
you can't get better timing than that because I literally just kind of sailed into the next chapter of life and it made it not quite as bittersweet to
Yeah.
turn my attention, of
That's right.
course, all my focused attention into the first grandchild, which gets a good bulk of it,
Yeah.
right? By
That's right.
default
That's
of being the
right.
first. So, but even so, there is just this struggle with, okay, now who am I? Because I put so much into this and I don't really know what to do with all this now. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you work full time. It doesn't matter if you've been home during those years. I think most moms would admit that they struggle with who am I now when I
Yeah.
don't have this as my sort of primary role because by default of all their needs and all the things that we have to do, to care for our children, it is all consuming. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt. I mean, you
Absolutely.
still have some times they need you in college or if they go out into the working
Yeah.
world. But overall, you're punching out.
Yeah. My heart is pounding. My heart is I'm not crying yet, but I'm like, oh, this is so real for me right now. So I noticed you wrote about perfectionism, which I think is so easy to go, I want to do it right. And I want to do it because I'm like,
Mhm.
loved working for Chick-fil-A, love the podcast. But at some point, you're going to be like, I got to go to bed. Like I would stay up for days and throw myself in front of a truck for my kids. So it was like, there's this level of we're never done. It's never good enough.
It's never
And
enough.
then and I think so getting it right versus being faithful are two different ways to look at it. So many of years, I just wanted to get it so right. And I thought there was a formula. And we say on this podcast 100 times a week, there is no formula. But when you're
Nope.
in it, I think this was probably part of the problem is that we thought
Yeah.
if it's our highest calling, we want
We
to
have
honor
to get it
God.
right.
We have to get it right. So
We
help us
can't.
unpack that.
Yeah, yeah, and really that is the core of the book, is that when you believe that narrative, it's your highest calling, you can't afford to get it wrong.
Mm,
And so you are consumed with yeah, getting it as right as possible
right.
all the time.
Yeah.
And, of course, that breeds a lot of motherhood guilt
Hmm.
because guess what? We're not going to get it right. Sometimes
Right.
we don't even know what is right for one child is not right for the next child. And so, just as you said, there's no formula. And so, and
Hmm.
I was writing these things,
Yeah.
and I believe these things in my core, but practicing them at times was difficult when you've embraced that narrative because
Yeah.
you still can't help but carry that intense responsibility that I am on the hook
Right.
for these little lives. And if this is my so-called highest calling, I cannot afford to get it wrong. So yeah, it breeds a lot of guilt. It breeds a lot of worry over all the things that we have to worry about and things that we didn't know we were supposed to be worried about.
Right. Right.
But we can get caught up in the trap of, and these are all kind of chapters in the book, but creating this idea of a magical childhood
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
kids. And so I really feel like that's another byproduct of believing this kind of false narrative that it's your highest calling because you're like, wow, I only have them for this short amount of time in my direct care. And so I want to create this magical childhood for them, which means that I put them at the center of my world and all of my needs come last or
Right.
somewhere further down the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.